Hey guys, it's Drea. Today I have for you my eyebrow tutorial video. A lot of you have asked me to do this over the last year-ish, and so I finally am bringing it to you. It took a little bit of courage, I'm not gonna lie. I don't have like the most amazing eyebrows in the world, but a lot of you wanted to see what my routine is. So I hope this helps you out. This is my eyebrow routine. Let's just get into it. So what I'm gonna be using today is my Anastasia DipBrow. This is in the shade Ash Brown, and this is the tool that I use anytime I use my DipBrow. This is the Anastasia brush, and mine has worn off the number. I'm pretty sure it's the number 7. This brush is so good. It's so good. It's got a spoolie on one side, and then it's got just, I think, the perfect size, thickness, and everything for doing your eyebrows. Getting a brush that works best for you is probably going to be the biggest factor in the ease of use of this product, in how your brows turn out. You're gonna have to find a good tool, because if you're using a tool that is really, really thick, or maybe not dense enough, or it moves around too easily, you've lost half the battle already. So the good tool is a place to start. So this is what I recommend. Of course, I'm gonna link everything below. So obviously, these are tips and tricks that work for me. This is just what I do. You guys have asked for this. I really struggled with whether or not I should even do an eyebrow tutorial, because I don't feel like I am the biggest expert on brows. I don't carve out my brows. I don't use concealer underneath my brows. I just use a product, and then that's the end of it, and I move along with my life. So if you want a little bit more of a carved out brow, this is probably not the right tutorial for you, but this is just how I do it. So hopefully at least you can get a few tips and tricks. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that I am using DipBrow today, but I also very, very often, probably even more often, will use the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This is in the shade medium brown, and really every principle that I do is the same. The shape, how I do my strokes, everything is the same. It's just that I find with a pencil, it ends up looking a little bit more natural, whereas with the DipBrow, it is a little bit more of a bolder looking brow. So it just depends on preference, but the tips and tricks are kind of the same for both. And if you're looking for a really good drugstore version of the, what's it called, Brow Wiz, this is one of my favorites. This is from L'Oreal. It's the Brow Stylist Definer. It's also got a spoolie on one side, and it's got a little micro tip brow pencil on this side. The only downside to this is that there's a very limited shade range. One other thing I wanted to mention is that over the years I have steadily gone lighter and lighter and lighter with my hair, but I have stuck to the exact same color of DipBrow. Now, I've kind of toyed with the idea of trying something a little bit lighter, but honestly I'm a little bit chicken. I like to stay with what I have, and what I do is I match my eyebrow product to the color of my actual eyebrow hairs, because I feel like it might not work if I go lighter with the product and then I have actual dark hair sticking out. I don't know. I should probably try it. I know, don't yell at me, but this is just what I do. I don't have a problem with blonde girls that have dark brows. You know, it's just, that's life sometimes. Nature does that anyway. So, okay, enough of a preamble. I'm gonna zoom you in and we'll try our best with this tutorial. This is about as zoomed in as I can get before my camera's gonna start going wonky, and honestly it might still go a little bit wonky, so I hope to God this is gonna work. Okay, so what I do with DipBrow is I take my brush and I'm going to, see how I have this circle in the middle here? I kind of like to wipe outwards from that circle on each side of the brush. So I'm gonna take the product and I'm gonna go like this, maybe 1 or 2 times, and I'm gonna go like this on the other side 1 or 2 times. I don't pick it up straight down on the actual edge until the very end. There's always going to be a lot of excess. I always wipe the excess off on the edge, maybe just once and lightly. I mean, I don't want to wipe it all off. I just want to wipe off any like blobs and stuff like that. So that's how I personally pick up the product on my brush. One of my biggest pet peeves with eyebrow tutorials is people say pick up the product on your brush and they don't tell you how. So I am telling you how I do it. That's just the way that works for me. What I'm going to do, and I'm going to not talk through this because I need to concentrate, but I'm going to start at the very bottom where my brows, like all my brow hair goes up, and then it starts going over. So right here, I'm going to start and I'm going to draw a line across here. Now, I think it's really important to note this because you have to work with the shape of your own eyebrows. If you have eyebrow hairs that all go sideways, it's gonna look weird if you draw your hair up and down. And again, if you have up and down hairs in the front, it's gonna look weird if you draw your hair sideways. So you might love the look of some other girls' brows, but it might not necessarily work for you. You've just gotta kind of work with what you have. Okay guys, I think I changed my mind. I think I'm gonna have to put the camera here. Otherwise it keeps going blurry. So let's just try our best. Okay, so there's the first line that I do. I kind of start here and I'm kind of going in a straight line up to the point that's going to be my arch. So a lot of people say to go from the edge of your nose and to the edge of your eye, and that's where your eyebrow should end, and then go from the edge of your nose to your pupil, and that's where your arch should be. Now you can play around slightly from there, but that's going to be the general rule of thumb. I went a little bit past where my pupil lines up, and then I'm going to just take this and I'm going to follow the bottom of my brow here and just kind of flick that out. So that's the base of my eyebrow. Picking up any more product if you need to, just remember you don't want to go overboard. You can always add more, and remembering to just wipe off the sides. So before I actually do any filling, I'm going to go on the top, and same thing, I'm going to just kind of go right above where I started, and I go slightly above where my eyebrow hairs are because I'm kind of balder on top than anywhere else on my eyebrow. So I'm going to go slightly above, and I have my brush sideways, so it's actually like this on my eyebrow, and I'm kind of allowing it to glide across, and I'm not really doing much. I'm allowing it to follow kind of the shape of my skull in a way. And then when I get here, I'm just gonna keep it in the same place and move it downwards. So, and I kind of allow it to go down like that. Okay, I actually feel like I did that a little bit too high above. You guys, I've never done an eyebrow tutorial before. You're gonna have to forgive me. So just wipe that off, reapplied whatever foundation was left on my beauty blender, and we're gonna go again. So if you ever make a mistake, just know you can go again. Okay, so that is the basic shape. Now I'm gonna fill it all in. So I'm gonna start filling in the back part of the tail with the most product, and then as I move my way this way across my eyebrow, I'm gonna have less and less product on the brush, so it's not gonna be as heavy in the front, and that's the way I want it. Usually I'm gonna turn my brush again, so just depending on where I'm working on my eyebrow, whether I feel like it works better to have it on an angle or straight, I don't know, you just gotta figure out what works best for you. And I tend to do it more straighter on the edges so that I don't mess up. It's kind of more like coloring, you know what I mean? Like coloring in the lines. And then I'll maybe turn it slightly in the middle because I can kind of cover a little bit more area with the side of the brush. Important to note that I'm using this to blend, so whenever I feel like it's looking a little choppy and unblended, then I just go through and just run this through the hairs lightly. I don't want to rub all the product off, I'm just kind of using it to blend with. I also wanted to mention I usually have like a makeup wipe next to me, and sometimes I'll use that just to clean off the brush. And it doesn't matter if this is slightly damp. That really doesn't make a difference at all. So if you want to clean off excess, start over. Now my brush is completely clean. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the product, and with this, just the exact straight edge of it, you know, right there, I'm just gonna barely tap that in very lightly, maybe once or twice. And now I have it just on the straight edge. I'm gonna go straight up from where my tear duct is here. And basically straight up from there is where I'm lining it up. That's actually where my eyebrow hair starts growing in anyway. So on me, it's pretty easy to see that, and I can just use that as a guide. But for a lot of people, if you don't have that, just remember, rule of thumb is tear duct and straight up. You see a lot of people sometimes that have their eyebrows a little bit too close together, and you know, do what you want to do, but I personally think it can make you look a little bit angrier, it can make you look a little bit harsh when your eyebrows are too close together. So, you know, whatever you prefer, but this is just my rule of thumb. So what I'm doing is I am not yet drawing, I'm just going to stamp this down. So I'm just going to press it. I'm just going to press it and let go. And that's going to give me a line. And I'm just going to press across. Okay, so there you go. And then I'm just going to make my way back. And basically the pressing is just allowing it to draw on what looks like kind of natural brow hairs. And then probably after I've gone across once and twice, I come back and now I start going downwards. And I actually just draw lines straight up and down. And that kind of allows it to be blended at the same time. So now that's where we are with this. The only last part would be kind of the bottom of the brow here. And what I do is I just kind of take whatever's left and draw it across and kind of fill in the bottom a little bit more than I fill in the top. As you can see, I have a little bit of a line there from when I started, and I just use my finger to kind of blend that in or blend it away. And then I can go back in with this and kind of just draw across. And then on me, like I said before, I have eyebrow hairs that go like this, and then at a certain point they go like this. So what I do is I just kind of draw up at an angle to blend it. And there, that's it. That is my final eyebrow. So now I will do this one again, but I'm just gonna speed it up. That way you guys can see it again, just a little bit more sped up, and I'm not gonna talk through it this time. Now my eyebrow hairs don't really tend to move around. I know some people's do, and you want to use an eyebrow gel. The only thing I really use a gel for personally is just for adding fibers. So these two products I really like. This one is Gimme Brow by Benefit. This is in the shade 01, although I have used shade 3 as well. It's a little bit darker, but I still like it. And then this one is from Essence. This is the Make Me Brow Eyebrow Gel Mascara. It's basically a dupe. They have the same kind of brush. And this is in the shade 03 Soft Brownie Brows. The thing about both of these products is they have the very small brush that goes right through your eyebrows, and it's slightly colored. It's not too dark. I don't want to put like really dark color on top of my eyebrows and make them even more dark, but these also have fibers in them too. So I like to just run it up at first and push all these up, and it will hold them in place if that's something you're worried about. And then I dip back in and just kind of run it through all the way through the brow, and that's going to give me a little bit more volume, because volume is something I'm really lacking in my eyebrows, and it gives me a little bit of volume with those hair fibers. So that is my eyebrow routine. I really hope this helped you out. If you're new here, definitely subscribe. I'd love to see you around in the future, and give this video a thumbs up if it helped you. That's it for today. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!